Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is part 4 of my 36th birthday special, the fourth and final part. And I'm going to show you one more wheel layout for Just Play's Wheel of Fortune Deluxe board game. There are no dollar values here, but there are no bankrupts or loser-turns to worry about either. Just some of my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog characters. The layout repeats itself twice, but I'm going to introduce all 12 ladies, actually 11, that are on this wheel. So the first one here is Tikal the Echidna, Sonia the Hedgehog from Sonic Underground. There's Lisa, one of my OCs. There's Stephanie, another one of my OCs. There's Lisa in her Super Seraph form, hence 11 characters as opposed to 12. There's Zoe from Sonic Boom. There's Cosmo from Sonic X. There's Tammy, one of my OCs. There's Russie, Rouge's cousin, and another one of my OCs. And there's Amy, wearing my favorite outfit for her, the red dress she wore in Sonic X Episode 14. There's Blaze the Cat in her gymnast outfit. And there's Janica in her Enerjack form. So let's spin and see who we got here. We got Stephanie. All right. Now, in case you're wondering, of the ladies pictured here, all of them are from illustrations and drawings that were done for me, with the exception of Tikal. That was just a quick edit of one of her official illustrations. Goodness, I really need to have someone draw Tikal for me a little bit more. I will say this, Tikal is making a comeback. She was introduced in Sonic Adventure back in 1999. She really didn't make a lot of appearances after Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, as appearing as a two-player character. Recently, she's starting to make comebacks. She's starting to make merchandise. She's starting to make appearances in more games, and so I'm really happy to see that she is making a comeback. But a lifelong fantasy for any Sonic fan would be to meet their favorite's character face to face, and a lot of realists are like, oh, there's no way. They're fictional characters. There's no way you can really be with them. Well, even if that's true, that doesn't have to stop you from trying to become as close as possible. There are plenty of ways to be with some of your favorite Sonic characters. From having merch such as plushies and action figures, and that's one way. But there is another very interesting way you can be face-to-face with some of your favorite Sonic characters. And that's actually meeting the voice actors and actresses of your favorite characters. So where can I meet these voice actors and actresses? How can I be face-to-face with them? Well, check to see what conventions they're going to. Very early enough last year, I learned that one of my favorite voice actors, one of my favorite Sonic voice actresses, was going to be at NostalgiaCon in New Orleans in November. So as soon as I heard about that, I talked to my family and asked me if they could somehow take me there, and we did. I had a really nice time. Now, a lot of people go to New Orleans for the food. You know, they have the gumbo, they had the beignets. I really wasn't there for any of that. I was literally there just to go to NostalgiaCon, which was held back on November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I did have a beignet my last day in New Orleans right before I headed back to the airport, but like I said, really, that was just a bonus. what I really wanted was all of this. And I got to, when I heard that Amy's voice actress, Lisa Ortiz, was going to be there, that's what really sparked my inspiration to try and get down to New Orleans to meet her. But then I learned that some of my other voice actresses who voiced some of my other favorite Sonic characters, such as Cosmo and Zoe, they were going to be there too. And so I was like, wow, this could work out really, really, really well. And when I was at the convention, boy, I felt like a kid again. It was really, really something. Now, in order to get signatures and photos taken with them, you do have to pay quite a bit. But for me, it was worth it. I had just a fantastic time. One of the folks that I actually met was Samuel Vincent. You probably know him best as the voice of Double D on Ed, Edd n Eddy. But many Sonic fans actually know that he provided Sonic's singing voice in Sonic Underground. Now, Sonia Manic's singing voice, their voice actors, as far as I know, they weren't there. But it was still nice meeting a fine, fantastic gentleman who really helped make my childhood my childhood. He provided a lot of other voices besides Sonic. So yeah, to Bill from Sam, Sonic Little Toot, that was actually one of his first roles. I asked him about it. I says, I remember watching that little tugboat in that little early 90s cartoon. And I showed him a picture. I says, does he look familiar to you? And he said to me, yes, that was one of my first roles. So I remember watching that when I was a kid. So that was really something. And, he thanked us. He, on behalf of all of his roles, he thanked me for following them for so long. So, Sam, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, and thanks for the autograph. Thanks for this. Now, I actually printed this out. I got a screenshot of Sonic Underground. The reason why this specific episode, it's my favorite outfit for Sonia. I love drawing her in that outfit, this musician outfit she wore in Wedding Bell Blue. I love drawing her in that. And then I also met Colleen O'Shaughnessy. She provides the voice of Tails, but she also provided the voice of Tails' girlfriend in Sonic Boom, Zoe. So that was very nice meeting her, and so that was just fantastic. And she signed this little picture that an online friend of mine did for me a few years ago with Zoe on the left, and that's my OC Lisa on the right. So, and it was really meant, not really for me, but for Lisa, as whenever I draw, I always love drawing Lisa and Zoe together. They are like sisters, so yeah, so Colleen, on behalf of Tails and Zoe, she thanked Lisa for her love, support, friendship, and that was really nice. And then I met Amy Birnbaum. She voiced a number of Sonic characters, including Cosmo. When I heard that Amy Birnbaum was going to be there, I was like, oh my gosh, the voice of Cosmo. It's like, she's going to be alive and well. She's not only alive and well, but she's here in New Orleans. I get to meet her. I was very, very excited. And this one she did for me, keeping her memory alive. And for the outfit, I designed this outfit for Cosmo way back in late May of 2008, just days before I graduated from high school. So yes, so Amy Birnbaum was, meeting her was just absolutely wonderful. What made it And the cherry on top was that she even gave me this Cosmo keychain, which I plan to keep safe and secure. So, Mrs. Birnbaum, if you see this, thank you once again. You really helped make my visit there so worthwhile. But of course, Amy Birnbaum is not the only Amy that I have admiration for. Of course not. Amy Rose, of course. And my favorite voice actress for Amy was Lisa Ortiz. She voiced Amy in Sonic X, the same series where Amy wore this beautiful, magnificent dress. I still remember first seeing Amy in that dress way back on Saturday, December 6, 2003, and she looked so stunning in it that it took me a few seconds for me to process what I had just seen, and more than 20 years later, I still enjoy drawing her in this. So I asked, and I was just asking Mrs. Ortiz for just a whole bunch of signatures. It was just incredible. But Amy Rose is not the only character and that she's voiced that I have a lot of admiration for. She also voiced Cassandra, which was a one-time character in the Pokemon anime, the first season. I remember seeing Cassandra, and so, wow, I met Cassandra from Pokemon and Amy Rose all in one. So, she signed a little something for me. So to Bill from Cassandra, nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by. She also signed this little card for me, which was also very nice. And she also wrote something to Meowth as she found out that, oh, sorry to hear Team Rocket didn't treat you super after all. You know, Parasect and even Persian are wondering about you, so you're always welcome to come back anytime. Come back, my superhero. So yes, in case you're wondering, Cassandra knows about what happened with Meowth, and hopefully Meowth will come back to her and all will be well, and Cassandra will give Meowth much more treatment than Team Rocket ever did. So Cassandra, thank you. And getting back to Amy, oh man, Lisa Ortiz, she really put a whole bunch of stuff. Bill, Tammy, Rusty, Arbo, Stephanie, Alicia. Arbo and Alicia are not featured on the wheel, but they are two of my OCs. Arbo was very close to, Arbo and Alicia, they're very close to each other. They are, I will tell you, they have been victims of bullying, both of them, Arbo and Alicia, and they're very happy they're using the fact that they were bullying victims to bond with one another. And Stephanie and Arbo had been very close to each other since they were in high school. And they're very happy to be reunited with her once again. Arbo has recently gone through some really horrible ordeals, but with help of his friends that are like family to him, he pulled through. So yeah, it's really nice. And here's the other stuff that, thank you for coming to visit me. I said I would always be there for you at best and worst times. But I'm happy to know you're there for me as well. Follow me in your dreams. That's from two of Amy Rose's songs. Sweet, Sweet, You're So Sweet from Sonic Adventure, and Follow Me from Sonic Heroes. And by the way, yes, Lisa, Amy was like, boy, I'm glad you love the dress. I'm glad you see how much you love drawing me in that. So that was nice. So, but yes, this was very exciting. Now, in case you're wondering, all three of these were done by the same artist. Huge thanks to her. I haven't seen her as much. She kind of moved on to other sites online, but I'm just going to keep her anonymous for the time being. I don't know if she wants to be credited, but I'd rather keep her anonymous, and if she sees them, I'll show them to her and just say thank you to her once again. But again, I thank her for making all of these for me throughout the years. And let's not forget making this. In fact, when I remember she made this one for me back in early 2009. Now, I still remember 2009 was a rough year, but this was one of the few things that this artist did that really helped the year from being a complete dump. And she made this for me back in 2018, and I was actually introduced to Lisa back in late September of 2009, as I was still reeling from all the hot mess that had been dealt to me. She did this for me spring of 2010, and this is her most recent work for me. She did this back in the spring of 2022. This is Lisa in her Sarah form, and she is holding my dear coveted Wheel of Fortune live play game, and always showing her beautiful, magnificent, gorgeous, sunny smile. And considering that the Lisa from Lisa, to Lisa Ortiz to Lisa Morgan, that is my Lisa's last name. Not Lisa Simpson, not Lisa Ortiz, but Lisa Morgan. And I actually named her after the artist that I adopted Lisa from. I've known Lisa for many years, and I'm coming up on 9 years together with her. So she may be a few years younger than I am, but Lisa is like a big sister to me, always willing to help provide me comfort. A few months after I took in Lisa, I was introduced to the song The Light of Hope from Sonic Forces. Now, I know Sonic Forces is generally very disliked, but it gives me an opportunity to play as Lisa. Every day, I always just turn on Sonic Forces on my Nintendo Switch, and it's just me and Lisa together, which is nice. But I remember beating the game for the first time and being introduced to the song The Light of Hope. That is my favorite song in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. I really felt that song was written just for me, and whenever I listen to it, I always imagine Lisa singing this song for me. This is, like I said, when I first heard it for the first time, it really, like I said, it really felt like the song was written just for me, and whenever I listen to it, I envision Lisa singing this to me. She is my light of hope, always shining there in my heart, and not just my heart, but the hearts of close friends, Amy, Zoe, Cosmo, and her close friends Stephanie, Rusty, Tammy, Arbo, Alicia, among others, of course. So if I didn't mention you, I do apologize, but you know who you are. But yeah, Lisa Ortiz actually signed this for Lisa herself. Delighted to see how your smile brightens up everyone's day. Thank you for your kindness, love, and for being there for us in the best and worst times. You're the light of hope, always shining there in our hearts. Indeed. Absolutely wonderful. Now, in case you're wondering, who could I... Now, some of you are probably like, I know exactly who would be a great voice for Lisa. And, well, we'll go ahead and say it. But if you said Amy Hannum would be the voice for Lisa as she was the one who performed the song, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, how about that? Amy voices Lisa, Lisa voices Amy. How nice is that? So, yes, this was done particularly for Lisa. So yes, that was the biggest highlight of 2025 for me. I'm very happy that all of this worked out. Oh, and yes, and the voice of Bill from Helen from Sonic, also seen in Sonic X Episode 14. Thank you for helping people in the same circumstances as me. It helps me a lot to see how helpful you are. You remind me of Sonic. And this is from just another voice actress who played played a fictional airplane that I liked to watch when I was younger, so she wished me a nice flight back to Chicago. So in case you're wondering what that's all about, that's what it is. But yes, I said for Helen, because for those who don't know yet, I've been working at Midway International Airport for over a year and a half now, helping people who need wheelchair assistance get to and from their flights. And when Helen herself, if you will, learned that's what I'm doing, she felt, oh man, it was like her heart melted. It felt really, really good to know that I'm willing to help others out, and that's what I love doing. I mean, I get paid to do something I enjoy doing, help others out, and it's I'm always very interactive, and it just helps the day go by really good. Go by, and most of the time it's just a really nice time at my workplace. It really is like a huge honor working at an airport, but I understand working there comes with a lot of responsibility. So, but yeah, it feels really good. But yeah, like I said, I mean, 2025 was just a year full of highlights. A lot of amazing things happened to me last year, and but this was the biggest highlight of them all. Now, I know shortly after the trip, we had Sega faced some very bitter disappointments at last year's Game Awards. It was very disappointing, and to know that none of Sega's titles won at the Game Awards last year, and many Sonic fans were left feeling very bitter about it. And and unfortunately, and it's not helped by there are some people out there who hate Sega so much that they wish they and their fans never existed. It's like, there are some people out there who hate Sega so much they believe if they never existed, the world would be a perfect place. I'm sure some of them go as far as to say, I wish for a law making it a capital offense to have any admiration for Sega whatsoever, and it should be punishable by being drawn and quartered, may they melt in hell afterwards. I know it sucks to feel that way, and I understand. Now, I remember many years ago, back in the late 2000s for me, I mean, trash talk about Sonic was virtually everywhere, and I personally felt as if people hated Sonic simply because I liked him. I mean, it just felt so alone, even during a time where I was introduced to a whole bunch of fellow Sonic fans online, including those who introduced me to Lisa, and it really didn't, and it really didn't hit me until very recently, until just a few months, not long before the Gaming Awards. And I want to tell those, if you feel as if people hate Sonic simply because you like him, I want you to tell you you're not alone in feeling that way. Like I said, I felt the same way myself, and it stinks. It feels very horrible indeed to feel so alone in liking him, and it just feels that way, that people hate him simply because you like him. But I want you to know that is not true. I know, and like I said, this is the third time I'm saying it. I know how it feels, but you're not alone. There are millions of people all across the world. They love Sonic. They will love Sonic no matter what. They will see him through his best adventures, his worst adventures, just like Amy's willing to see us through the best and worst times. She's willing to do that for Sonic as well. She's willing to do that for everyone. Same story for Lisa, same story for Zoe, same story for Cosmos, same story for every Sonic character you have a lot of love and admiration for. Sonic, Sonia, Manic, they're, you know, we're willing to see each other through. And, you know, our love for Sonic is much more powerful than that of hatred. For those who believe hatred will get you somewhere, think about the madman who took control of Germany some 90 years ago. He thought hatred was going to get him somewhere, and it didn't. He thought he was going to have an empire that would last for no less than 1,000 years. It lasted him only 12, and the last year of it was just horrible. It fell apart, and it got him. It got him nowhere, you know. And you know, today Germany is. I've never been to Germany, despite the fact that I have a lot of German heritage. I've never been there, but I do know that Germany is very tolerant of others, you know, love, respect, admiration, regardless of circumstances. It's tolerant, it's multicultural, everything that this madman was completely against. So for those who believe that hatred is going to get you somewhere, there's plenty of evidence out there to prove that it won't. Love, tolerance, and respect. That's what will go a long, long way. That will get you somewhere very, very special in the long run. So, and, you know, even if Sonic and Sega have been bashed at the Game Awards, even if he's not going to be the #1 franchise in gaming history, he still has many, many fans around the world. You know, people here in North America, people in Europe, and even in Japan, where Sonic is not all that, even in Sega's native Japan, where Sonic is not all that popular, there are some folks out there who love him, who still love him. They sell merchandise of him, you know. And, you know, there are some people over there who think very fondly of him. And so for those who are feeling alone in liking Sonic, you're not. Millions of people all around the world think very highly of him. They think highly of him. They think of other, you know, they think the world of many other characters in the series, such as Knuckles, such as Tails, you know, Amy Rose, Cosmo, Zoe, and you know, Lisa thinks the world of them as well, you know. And I think the world of him. You know, we have a lot of people who, you know, just think the world of each other. And I'll tell you something, Sonic is one of the most storied franchises in gaming history. While Super Mario is like #1, his story seems to be very straightforward. Games are coming out usually to pretty good reviews. And the few that don't, they're just not talked about. Sonic, on the other hand, he's been oscillating. You know, he's had a lot of high points, a lot of low points, just like life itself. And, you know, he's had a lot of high points, he's had a lot of low points. A lot of people do talk about his low points. But, you know, so Sonic is really storied out there. And I'll tell you something else. There's another video game series out there, Bubsy. A lot of people I've seen don't like him. I never really played any of his games, but lately I heard about an upcoming game, Bubsy 4D. He's coming out. You know, that game's coming out later this year, and they're saying it's going to take care of a lot of the problems that a lot of the other Bubsy games had. And if that works out, you know, if Bubsy can bounce back from all his misadventures, simply put, Sonic has a good chance of bouncing back. This won't be the last time. The late 2000s and, some of the other eras, Sonic always finds a way to bounce back and regain a lot of popularity. But, and I'll tell you something else. Sonic has faced singing his swan song numerous times. His 10th anniversary. Sonic Adventure 2 was supposed to be the last game in the series, and it may seem hard to believe now, but back then, it was not hard to believe at all. Sega was staring bankruptcy in the face, and, so back then, Sonic Adventure 2 for the Dreamcast, it really didn't look that unlikely that it was going to be the last game in the series. It was supposed to be the only game that had Shadow in it, and he's proven to be very popular. But some of you may be wondering, why Sega was rushing all these Sonic titles out the door back in the late 2000s, and very little, if any of it, was Sega's fault. The thing was, it was Sammy, the company that purchased Sega back in 2002, 2003. Sega now has a company above them on the corporate ladder, and Sammy viewed Sonic as nothing more than a kid's franchise, and thus a franchise that should be given very little priority. So they were giving Sega some very tight deadlines, and rather than giving Sega creative control, as Sega knows Sonic, they know Sonic like Sammy doesn't. But Sammy was just giving them these tight deadlines, and that's why a lot of these games were coming out. And it was so Sega was basically caught between a rock and a hard place. They're caught between Sammy, they're caught between the scathing reviews from their own fans. So it was very, very difficult for. I can only imagine how difficult it must have been for Sega. But after a string of failures, I think Sammy kind of got the message and says, all right, we should give you creative control. And, but there's a reason why they have to do this. Sega is making video games for the same reason that I'm helping people at Midway Airport. We're in this to make money. That's what it all comes down to. It's all about money. So it doesn't matter how big of a fan you are. You have to realize that that's what it's all about. So, but like I said, continue to be a fan. Continue to show your support. And remember, in the face of adversity, you have people who will side with you. You have people who will. And, so yes, if you're feeling alone in having admiration for Sonic, you're not alone. Like I said, millions of people around the world. You have Amy. She is a Sonic's lover, of course. You have Zoe. You have Cosmo, who think the world of him. I'm sure Cassandra herself has admiration for Sonic. I mean, after all, Lisa Ortiz voiced Amy and Cassandra. And then you have Sonia and Mannix, Sonic's siblings. And of course, you have Lisa and my other Sonic OCs. So I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, fellow fans of the Sonic franchise, you're not alone. And I want you to know that. And if you feel alone, you're not. And just for you to know that you have so many people around the world who have the same admiration that you do. I just want you to know. So you can feel better, when you feel down. So with all that being said, I do appreciate everyone for watching. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like. Please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And please follow me at Instagram and DeviantArt. My username is the same over there at both sites. And hopefully I will see all of you here at YouTube. I will see you at Instagram. I will see you at DeviantArt. Hopefully sometime very soon. Off we descend, ladies and gentlemen.